Hi, everyone. It's Diane Evans with stampingwithdiane.com. I'm an independent Canadian Stampin' Up demonstrator here in the interior of British Columbia on the western coast of Canada. So if this is your first time joining me, I'm so glad that you have found me. Make sure that you do subscribe if you found me on YouTube. And if you have found me through my Facebook groups, make sure actually sometimes just hop on over to my YouTube channel because a lot more times I show more stuff on my YouTube than possibly that I do on my blog and everything else. So this is a series that was inspired by a friend of mine. She kind of just gave me that kick, and it's how did I do that? And it's a Technique Tuesday type class. So what I've been doing lately, and hello, Peggy, I have actually been going back to some of the oldies, the real old techniques. And, honestly, there's so many different things and so many different variations that you can use with the new techniques. I mean, with the old techniques, but there's so many old techniques that I don't want to go on to the new techniques until we start covering all those old ones. So let's hop on down to my desktop and let's get going on this. So we're going to be using this stamp set, but I'll go through that a little bit. This is the rock and roll stamping technique. How many of you have remembered this technique? Now, this one is a little bit more challenging now that when I did this technique years ago, we used to take our stamp sets or our stamps and we used to cut our stamps out with rubber scissors. And so you got really, really close to the rubber. But I'm going to show you different variations that you can do with this using the way the already pre-cut rubber stamps. But it really one of the first texts that you learned. Oh, very good. I do have a couple of variations that go with it. So you will be getting tomorrow about 9 o'clock. I will be posting this. I'll post it with a sample. I see that my printer cut this off, so I'll just show you on another one here. So I will put my copy of my sample here. There'll be a YouTube video that I'll link to this YouTube video. And also make sure that you put a sample of yours on here. And then to the card that I've done, I'm not doing blog posts to them. So I'm showing the measurements that I've done for my particular card. And then I'll also tell you the stamp sets that I've used in there. So the rock and roll technique, what exactly is that? It's like I say, it's a simple technique. Some of the results can be pretty amazing. You have to play with it. Hello. You have to play with it. You have to kind of, it's an awful lot of trial and error. I found that I was, the colors I wanted to use weren't working for me, but I'm going to show you that part. And you'll see different things that we can do to make it better. So what you want to do, and I have some pieces here. So let's see. I've got a piece. Is this what I want to do? Let's see. Okay, anyways, with this True Beauty bundle set, it can be found, it's from Beauty Awash, and it's on page 66 of the annual catalog. It's a beautiful stamp set. It's a distinctive stamp set, so that it lends very, it lends fantastic to doing this. This designer series paper in itself is very pretty too, but the dies are amazing as well. Remember, when you do buy things like this, you do get them at a 10% discount, your bundles. And this is the lattice work. I really think that this kind of makes a card, and it shows up very, very well. Okay, so we're going to be using that. Now, this is shimmer white paper. Actually, I'm going to show you a rock and roll technique with a bigger image. Now, actually, the bigger image works better than these smaller images, but let's just see something that we can do with this, and we could do it towards a masculine trend. So the thing is, you want to take a lighter color and a darker color. You're always going to start with your lighter color, and the reason is you don't want to contaminate if you go from dark to light, well, it's not going to show for one. But if you go from light and do the rocking and the rolling with the darker technique, it'll show up and it won't contaminate your ink pad. So I thought this was a good image, this wild Life Wonder. I could use any of these images, but I want to use the bear again. This is such a great stamp set to do for a masculine card. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to ink this up, and you'll see how it starts to work, and then we'll work on the flowers. All right, so I've just stamped it up with crumb cake, and then I'm going to come in with soft suede. I'm not doing a whole lot of doing this, but this is the rock and roll. So all you're going to do, you could take it like this, and you could just, you're just going to roll it, and you're kind of just putting it a little bit to one side. You'll see that we're going to get a lot of different coloring and that sort of stuff on there, but you can kind of see from there. Now this, I think, whoops, I'm just going to put this on here. And look at the image that you get from it. You get a bit of shadowing, and it's almost like a natural shadowing that goes along with it. So that's just as a bigger image. Now you could use your spots. And, you know, honestly, I was having issues with the spots, but the spots work better with the smaller stamp sets. So I'm just going to close those up, and we're going to put this away because I know me. I'll end up getting all over the place. As it turns out, I have it all over my hands. So see how that could be incorporated. And I think I'll do that for a retirement card that I have to get done doing. All right. So on here, this is shimmer white. It does not have to be shimmer white, but I'm actually doing a card. I'm putting very vanilla with this. So the shimmer white is not as stark white as the basic white. Now, the colors that I want to use on here, let's see. I've got a petal pink. I've got my Calypso coral. I've got some so saffron, and then I've got some greens that are here as well. Now, the color that is actually in this designer series paper is Granny Apple Green. However, I didn't quite like it with this particular card. Okay, so this is Pear Pizzazz. I'm just doing some leaves. I'm going to do a couple of the leaves. I'm going to come in with my Mossy Meadow, and I'm just going to, and it doesn't have to be all the way around. Now, you see how it's kind of, it's really juicy. I went and I inked up all my stamp pads, and I probably shouldn't have for this technique. But now this is one thing that you could do is you could take your blends or a sponge dauber and just sort of move it a little bit so that we don't have those lines. But let's see how this turns out. This, like I say, is on the shimmer white. All right, kind of dark. So we're just going to go in and let's do that up again. And maybe I won't do as much on there. So we're just going to roll it and roll it, rocking and rolling it. And we'll do another one there. So see how it works? It just does some different coloring on it. Now, if I wanted to do one more, let's do this. Whoops, that is not what we wanted to do. So I'm just going to come in with my Pear Pizzazz. Let's just do a tiny bit of rocking and rolling. And like I say, we could come in and just pull this down a little bit and pull this down here a little bit and see what our leaves look like there. So rocking and rolling technique. All right, so that worked okay for the leaves. Now I find that with these flowers that are in this stamp set, like I say, they come an awful lot close to the edge. Like they have a lot of rubber around it. So let me show you how this could work with just doing the rock and roll, and then hello. So we can turn around and then I can show you how we can fix that. So this is Coastal or Calypso Coral. See, it's quite juicy, this particular stamp set. Now, this is going to have a blotch right in the middle. I'll guarantee that. But see how we don't want that to go? But you know, it actually isn't bad. Well, I'm probably going to use it. So let's go again. I think I'll go in with the yellow. Let's go subtle. It's so juicy. I wish I hadn't inked up these stamp pads on the weekend. So let's go ahead and see what this one's going to look like. So a little bit of a difference. Now, because you're doing this, you're going to definitely want to make sure that you clean your stamps in between. This one, flower from the set, I think works about the best. So we're just going to rocking and rolling. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. See how that looks like just a splot in the middle? We don't want that. So we're going to go back. And then that's, honestly, you really don't want them to be that. And then I'm just going to come in with a blend, my blending brush, and we're just going to pull that in. We're just going to pull it down. And that is only because of our issues. Whoops. Oh dear. That is not what I wanted to do. I'm going to turn that over. Let's rock and roll it. Let's just use a bit of our blending brush. You don't want to press down too hard or else you're going to take off the ink. Now I want that to go right about there. I'll cut that. There we go. And then we also have another flower. And this is the bigger flower. And you know what? I think I'll do yellow. And the Calypso coral. See how juicy that is? We're just going to pull that down just to blend that a bit. Now, if your stamps are really nice and close to the edge there, it'll work great. You won't have those kind of images. You won't have, see how pretty that one is? That one worked out just great there. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and cut those dies out. Close these all up. Like I say, the drier your ink pads, the better. You could use spots. If you have paper pumpkin, you could use spots. Or you could buy those empty, you know, the empty spots and then do it. Okay. Definitely make sure that you clean this off. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to come in with my die cuts, and let's just quickly cut those out so we can make our card. I purposely put this onto a 3 1/4 inch piece of cardstock just so that I could run this through with a mini cut and emboss. And some of the sprigs would look really cool with this as well. So I'm just going to take out one of these sprigs. I'll show you what I'm going to do with that. There we go. All right. So we've got our leaves. I'm probably just going to use 2 of the leaves. You know what? I'm going to just bring this over this way and then just, whoops, just going to this on there. We're going to come in. This is a terrible one, but this one's a great one. So I'm just going to put that onto there with the Post-it note tape. And then there's this one here as well. And there. Now what I can do is I can roll that through on my mini cut and emboss. And you know what? I'm going to take this sprig and I'm going to use this particular one there, and I'm just going to run it across there. So. There we go. So we're definitely going to want to sprig is going to go there. Cut this piece off. Oops, it didn't cut. So we definitely want to go in and cut that. Oops. We'll just get that going. Yeah, so like I say, this is called the rock and roll technique. Oldie, a real old one. But it's pretty amazing the looks that you can get from it, or, you know, the different effects. This one has this leaf here, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it out. You know what? I'm going to tear this off too, because I can put that die there. And I'm going to use the one with the really dark. I think that's going to be quite pretty on there. And then I have this piece here. Maybe I should just cut this off. There we go. And we're just going to cut this one out here. This one's kind of a funky one. I got it right the first time. Usually they're a little harder to line up. There we go. Go ahead and put that on there. And we might even cut out the other leaf, depending. So I did try using pinks because I'd used the purples with this particular stamp set before. I thought, well, I got to stretch out of going to my pinks and purples. So, and we might need one more leaf. So let's just have one more leaf, good measure. There we go. There. Now, I could have cut these out ahead of time, but I wanted you to see the ones that we had done. And I kind of cut that a little crooked. So I didn't line that up very good. So when I do that, I just go in and fix it up with the, there we go. Put those there. So now we've got all of these in the dies. Put that in my magnetic thing. And now we can go and let's start making and designing the card. So like I say, just think of all these different colors that are here. And I have some from here before. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put this on a pool party card base. I thought that would be kind of pretty with this. So it is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And I'm just going to go and use my bone folder. And then I thought, oh, it's going to look good. Let's see. I have a piece of very vanilla. And oh my goodness, I probably should have had that one for the inside as well. But I'm going to kind of do a whitewash with this. So I'm coming in with my pool party. And I'm just going to stamp this up for now. And I've got my my water brush, and inside my Chucky I have my water. Yes, it's kind of fun. Whoops. So I'm just going to get some water. I'm just putting some on here. I just want just a really light wash on here. Just like so. And that's not that light of a wash, is it? All right. So that's going to go onto this part here. And then I went and I cut this lattice out of Very Vanilla. You can see I've got all these other different colors there. Now, I didn't want the lattice to go on straight. I kind of want it to go on a bit on an angle. So I've used my adhesive sheets on the back here. And I'm actually just going to take some of that off. And these sheets are great because they're cut. So it makes it easier to get these off. Now I'm thinking to myself, I could probably get a couple of different cards from here, but I'm not going to worry about it actually. Just going to come put that on, and then I'm going to take my scissors and cut those off. Oh, thank you. So like I say, I'm just wanting, if you're a linear person, this might really upset you. I'm not linear, so there we go. So this is going to give us a bit of a different sort of look on here. And I'm thinking to myself too that what I want to do is I'm going to want to put some ribbon on here. So I'm going to decorate this first and then think about the ribbon. All right, so we have all of our, you know what, and I'm going to bring these ones in too because we can, right? And so I want to go ahead and let's start. Put some of this yellow in there as well. Let's see. All right. So I'm going to start just by putting those on with dimensionals. You know what I should have done was I should have put the dimensional on this part here. And then, and yes, I'm going to add lots of dimensionals. We're going to stick some behind. We're going to be, and of course we want to put some on our leaves. Should have done some different flowers is what I should have done. So I'm going to have to come in with this color. And let's go ahead and put a leaf behind here. See, and we're not going to see much of that wash in the back, but it's going to just sort of take away from it just being a stark color there. So let's put this down there. Let's put some more leaves on there. Oh, thank you. Now that looks kind of strange there, but it's going to work. Put some of that right behind all of that. Yeah, we're putting on lots of flowers on here, but who doesn't like flowers, right? So I'm going to stick this, lift this up and stick it kind of behind. So it pokes out a little bit. And this one's such a pretty one. I'll use that one instead of that other one. So like I say, rocking and rolling, you're kind of getting like, it's a distinctive stamp, but it adds a little bit more. It gives you different shading in different spots. Like I say, I've got lots of these, so. Oops, put this here. And I could even cut off one of these leaves. I think I might do that. We'll see which one leaf I like. Let's cut this off. There we go. Okay. And then I've got these sprigs that I could use. And see, they're just from the stamped flower. I had a couple of those. Oh, this one would have been a pretty one on there too. So, all right, so we just put some glue on there. Whoops. Ooh, we got lots of glue on there. Well, we're just going to put it down here. It's going to cover up an awful lot of that anyways. And I'm not sure about where that other one went to, but we're going to live with just what we've got here. Now what we have to do is we have to put a sentiment on, and I also wanted to put some ribbon on there. So this pool party ribbon, oh, thank you. This pool party ribbon is very sheer, so it's going to work really well over top of this particular one. So I am actually going to bring this in and around, and then I'll tie the bow on there. But it's really kind of nice that it's not a really dark petal. I mean, full party on there. So I always use my tear and tape when I use this. Oh my goodness. I'm lucky I didn't spill that water. So we're just going to put this here. That across there. And now we have to figure out what we're going to do for a sentiment. They have some beautiful sentiments in this particular stamp set. I'll show you those in just a second here. Make sure that we've got that even. There we go. And I'm going to put the tear and tape over top of it as well, just to hold it in place. Oh, thank you, Peggy. Oh my goodness. You're so kind. So we're going to put this onto the front here. So let's go ahead and glue that on. Honestly, I will tell you that this is not how this card was originally going to turn out. I really wanted to do it in pinks, but I really kind of like it in these colors. I think it looks so nice. Now, I want to put some on the inside, so I'm going to have to cut that piece. But let's finish this off. So I thought to myself, what colors would be really kind of pretty to have on as a sentiment? I thought the pool party would be nice to bring it back in. I thought this would be nice. And I even thought this would be nice. So I'm thinking maybe I'll do the pool party, but honestly, I think I would really go towards one of the greens. What would you guys think? The pool party is definitely going to be more of a match with it. All right, so check these sentiments out. You are a true friend. Just because, here for you always. I love this just because. So that is actually what I'm going to use on here. And this is looking like it's, is that too big? I think it'll work. Oh my goodness, that is a terrible cutting on that stamp set. Look at that. It's way up above. I may have to trim this afterwards. So yes, I am going to emboss it just because I think that it would be, it's going to show up. It'll give that subtle sort of look to it. I'm coming in with my Versamark and we're going to use white embossing powder on this pool party. Well, pool party is where we're going. I really think the green would look amazing too. So I'm going to bring this down. Oh, I got it in the middle. That's kind of amazing. And look, it's on the crease part. It's creased. So I've got to do it again. So I'm going to do that again. We probably won't get it as in the middle as what we did on that last one. Not bad. Oh, and there's a good halo on there too. All right, so and I'll just bring in my heat tool and we'll just quickly, I may have to trim this because it's not quite in the middle. And it's not, it's just going to be kind of a subtle. Because I didn't want it to be too dark, right? There we go. Okay. So what are you thinking of this rock and roll? For some people, it might be just, it's brand new to them. They wouldn't know what it is. And I'm just going to come in with my little trimmer and we'll. And you know what? No, I don't like it that big. I'm going to hate myself for this. I probably should have cut it down. Probably would have been better with my other trimmer too. You know what? I'm going to bring in my other trimmer because I think that'll work better. I'm liking this card. I'm not much of an orange person or a Calypso coral person, but I sure tend to be using it more and more. You know what? That's okay. And I think what we'll do is we'll cut this off here. So I can't give you the exact measurements for that because I played around with it, right? So let's go ahead and put that on. So I'm going to put that on with dimensionals. Now, what I want to do, yes, the light green wood, the Pear Pizzazz would look great. So I'm just going to cut this end off. I don't like putting dimensionals where there's ribbon. So I'm going to put this up at the top. because when you put dimensionals on and there's ribbon, it flips. So there we go. All right. And then let's go in with this pool party ribbon. This is such a sheer and a very, very light ribbon. I was really glad when it actually carried over. It's quite nice that it carried over. Now I've got this going on upside down because I want to put a bow. We might be taking that bow off, but I think the bow will work. Whoops. Yeah, it's quite nice and it flows so easily. There we go. Right. There. And of course, now we have to put something on the inside. And this, of course, isn't measured. So I'm going to do the 3 3/4 by 5 inches. I like that inside size. And you know what? I really, really don't want to stamp again. We can just put that on the inside with a leaf. That's all we're going to do on the inside of this card. So if you like this and this technique, make sure you give me the thumbs up. Share my video. I really do appreciate you doing that. Another thing that you could do is like tomorrow, I will be posting this, this technique. It will be in my Facebook group. The links are below for that if you want to gather the and keep them in a ring binder. I suggest that you make sure that you do a sample of your own, and then of course also make sure that you maybe relate it to a card. You could do something else with that. I don't quite like that. Anyways, it'll be okay. Let's go ahead and put this on here. I think this pool party really makes this card. And who would have thought pool party with those orangey colors, right? Now, I have lots of different embellishments that we can use. This one doesn't quite go the in color. I was thinking this one might go, but even these heart pearls or the iridescent pearls might go. So I'm going to come in with these heart pearls because I haven't used them yet. Thank you. Well, like I say, this is a really old technique, Ellen. So it's one of those ones, old and true, and that's why I'm wanting so much to just what color of pearls do I want to go with? You know what? I'm thinking these are not, well, I could color these. No, I don't like those. I think I could use the in color, and I could use this one, the pale papaya. Let's try that. And these are the opal rounds. Yep, that'll work. And one here. There we go. So there's my card. Really kind of different. Like I say, it turned out a little bit different than what I expected it to, but I'm okay with it. Don't forget also with the rock and roll that you've got this. This is with that wildlife one where it turned out, I think it turned, well, this is one, and then there's this one here. This one shows a little bit more, but what a great technique to also use with the bigger stamps. You could do this also when you think of like the well done stamp, you know how when you stamp that, it's a distinctive stamp, but you could do the rock and roll around there and give yourself a darker type image on there, and it would really add an awful lot to it. So, but I hope you like that. Like I say, and I'm hoping that you're playing along with these techniques, because honestly, to be able to do these techniques and to do these techniques where I'm just going to go on here side by side, to do these techniques, why not do them? Because it just opens up your stamping world completely, right? So, all right. So what's happening tomorrow is mystery. My mystery at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. This is where I actually give you 3 clues. You know what? I kind of think I did something that might be for tomorrow, but that's okay. We're good. And then again on Thursday is my Now What series, where I pick something from the studio. It might be something new that's been in the catalog, and just show you different techniques of, or different ways of being able to use it. I hope you enjoyed this. Like I say, the link to my Facebook group is below. And that is the only place where I post these, because it's a private group. It's the only place where I post these files. And I think this is number 8. I'm not sure. It was written on the bottom, but it didn't print out. All right, you guys, have a great day. Remember to give me the thumbs up. Remember to share the video. Also, if you do live in Canada and you don't have a demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator. But anyways, thanks so much. Thanks for supporting me in coming and watching me. It just inspires me to keep on going. Bye for now.